And we are live. How is everybody doing here today, Sunday, January 24th, 2021? It's now 10:02 a.m. Pacific time here in Las Vegas. Hope everybody's had a great week. I see we already have 27 of you in the live stream. I'm hoping to get some more as we go along. It's been a pretty interesting week. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. So really interesting stuff. Not too many announcements or anything in terms of products. I did drop my video this morning regarding the full review of the X1 Nano, the ThinkPad, of course, and that's what you see here. Hope you can see me and hear me okay. ThinkPad X1 Nano, very highly rated. I really like it. A lot of positive things about it. A couple of things I wasn't crazy about, but overall, a really nice, extremely light device, again, at 1.99 pounds or 907 grams. Again, so is it a competitor to the MacBook Air? Well, we'll see, because today we're going to talk about some rumors that have been leaked regarding the MacBook Air upcoming here for 2021 with a rumored redesign. Okay, and we're going to get some legacy stuff back in some ways, such as the MagSafe connector, as well as potentially new thinner bezels on this. So that's going to be really good. So we're going to have to see what's going to be with these new MacBooks with maybe updated processors as well. So I don't know exactly all the details. We got some rumors going. One of the things I've been harping on is we needed a redesign, and it sounds like Apple's going to be leaning in that direction this upcoming 2021. Let's say hello to a few people as we get situated here. We see we have already 20 likes. Let's hit the like button, people. Let's get this spread out over YouTube. I've been really experimenting with the algorithm lately. I noticed that good thumbnails lead to a higher click-through rate. Higher click-through rate leads to more regular views. That means it's going to get recommended by YouTube. So I'm going to need your help on this. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button for those that are not subscribed to my channel. We focus on laptops pretty much, although I do other tech as well. Just reviewed the X1 Nano, as I just mentioned. So check out my channel if you haven't already done so. We still have Paul here. Let's bring him on here. How are you? Handquake as well. There's Handquake. There's Paul. Kasara Tech Studio. How are you? William Cohen once again joining the live stream, regular. Of course, we have one of our moderators, Mallory, here. Mallory, thank you for the invitation into Clubhouse. It's been very informative. Mallory's instrumental in a lot of the rooms there. I don't know if anybody's on Clubhouse, but that's been a very educational as well as entertaining app. I don't know, it's iOS only, it's by invite only. So I don't know how many of you are on Clubhouse, but it seems to be very popular and very interesting amongst tech YouTubers, creatives, marketers, and so forth, people in advertising, people in media and brands over there as well. So it's been pretty interesting so far. And Mallory is very well-spoken there and does a great job leading some of these chats. So great job once again. And thank you for that. Now, Before we begin and talking about these rumors, I want to get your opinions on it. What do you think of it? Are you down on these rumors? Do you care about the MacBook Air? Do you want to see these redesigns? Do you want to see more modern designs, thinner bezels? Do you like this idea of the MagSafe? Let me know in that chat section, or if you're watching this in the replay, let me know in the comment section below. I am curious to see what you guys think about it. And before we begin, I want to say a shout out to a couple of really good tech YouTubers I met last night here in Las Vegas. We've been chatting, of course, through the internets, on Twitter and on Instagram and so forth. But Tech Odyssey was fantastic. Got a great channel. He's got over like 40,000 subscribers. He does a lot of BlackBerry stuff, and he's got some really exciting stuff upcoming on that. So if you're not subscribed to Tech Odyssey, let me show you. I can bring up on the screen here. So he's a really cool dude. We hung out last night close to 5 hours, and as you can see, he's got some really good videos here, nice thumbnails. And then, of course, English Dan, another really true gentleman from England, but lives here in the United States and makes some great videos. Does a lot of good audio stuff. He does some laptop stuff. He did a really good one on the Envy from HP. So check it out, English Dan, and, of course, Tech Odyssey. I just wanted to shout them out. Really had a great time last night here in Las Vegas. We were over at the Luxor, so pretty good stuff. All right, let's get back onto this. Where is it? Okay, let's get back onto camera one. I got 4 cameras working today. Camera 1, camera 2, you've been seeing this before. I got my Lenovo mug. Camera 3 is the top-down overhead, and then camera 4 is going to be a tighter shot. Those are the cameras, and I'm planning on doing a behind-the-scenes, by the way, maybe a special live stream for members only. I'm thinking of doing some of those coming up. If you're not a member, why don't you try our membership? We have 3 different tiers. I will be doing a special live stream only, behind the scenes, and I will also show that, of course, to the general public, of course, but I want to give something special back to the members who have been contributing so much, and I've been really happy that you're able to help out this channel, especially during these tough times here in January where views are hard to come by. Now, let me know. So what do you think of the MacBook Air? I'm liking what I'm hearing so far, and let's take a look at that. So let's take up this article right here, and they're saying that's going to be following the reports of new screen technology being planned for next year's MacBook Pro, MacBook Airs, all affordable MacBook Airs being prepared for launch. And this is coming from Forbes, but this is going to be, let me get a better one for you. MacBook Air. There's a better one here. Radical changes, according to Tom's guide here, and they're going to be talking a next-gen MacBook Air. Updated Air could arrive this year with a MagSafe charging, as I mentioned, as well as thinner bezels, which I've been harping upon for God knows how long, and that's going to be great. And that would be a nice, really a modernization of the design. And then, of course, the next Apple Silicon chip. Okay, and that's according to Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, who's a pretty reliable source when it comes to Apple information and so forth over the years. And they believe that this new laptop will be a higher-end version, which leads us to believe that they will continue to offer the MacBook Air M1 that was released this past fall. So they might run side by side. So they may have a cheaper version, the one they already released, or they may have a more expensive version. So, and the other thing that they're saying about this MacBook Air, it will receive 4 USB ports, which is a pretty interesting. As we know, the one that's out right now only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports for connecting external devices. And then they're saying the MacBook Air also already offers those dual Thunderbolt USB 4. So that's interesting. Again, these are only rumors, nothing confirmed, but he's been pretty accurate on his information in the past. So take it for what it's worth. And then the next MacBook Air could also be lighter than its predecessor. That would be good because I think they need to make these a little bit more svelte in terms of weight. So while making a 2.8-pound laptop lighter, is an impressive feat. Apple could opt for optics and finally narrow those MacBook Air's bezels. And that's my biggest thing. I want to see those bezels get thinner, because that you're looking at the screen, God knows how many hours of the day, and you want to have a good experience all around, not just with the performance, the UI, the chipset, but you want to have visual confirmation that this is something you like working on. Thinner bezels definitely is more pleasing to the eye, at least to me. That's what I think. So there you have it. So that's rumored MacBook Airs. Let me know about it in the chat section. What do you think about it? Paul is saying if Apple perfects the 5-nanometer process, it's likely to leave Intel and AMD chewing their dust with their 10-meter and 7-nanometer processors. Yeah, you know, they made a big splash, of course, with that. And so you have to really believe that Apple's going to be able to pull this off. They don't do these things lightly, that's for sure. So Mallory says she cares about these a lot, mostly for performance. Design is second for me, but I understand the excitement. Yeah, I mean, definitely performance is, of course, is going to be the overall overarching thing about this. But I think design, I'm a big design person. I like design. And I want to see a more modern design, especially like what we've been seeing from the Windows counterparts lately have been very impressive. So we'll have to see what Apple has in store. And they have a good, obviously, eye for design over the years. They've been known for that. And we'll see what Apple will come up with. I'm pretty curious to see. I'm also curious to see what a 16-inch MacBook Pro would offer. We've heard some rumors as well a few weeks back of that. They're bringing back some legacy ports, maybe even the vaunted SD card slot. I know creators probably would like that. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe people have got so used to the last 5 years without it that they don't care about it. So I don't know. I would like to see, I use SD cards for the most part still, and I would like to reduce the amount of dongles or accessories I have to take with me. So I would love to see that. Hey, Nadine, good to see you. Ahmad was going to go with the XPS 15, but instead went for the MacBook Pro M1. A lot of people are really loving that M1. Okay. Again, they're only right now, what has been released are 13-inch devices. There are no 15-inch and stuff like that. But again, rumors are that they're going to be bringing here 2021 more updated processors and more updated designs. And I think a lot of people have been wanting to see that. Super chats are open. Super stickers are open. Memberships are open. Again, anything helps out the channel. It really, really helps growth of the channel because it helps me get devices such as the X1 Nano that I reviewed and released that review this morning. So check it out. I'll put it in the link below when I'm done. But just go to my channel. It was released this morning. It's doing very well. Sort of re-energized the channel in a sense lately. And the other thing that's been happening and that I've noticed is the fact that the unboxing video that I did 10 days ago is still doing fantastic. We're closing in on 40,000 views, so it's getting back to normal. Again, I saw a big dip in views as we entered the new year coming out of the holiday season, so that's actually been pretty good. So that's I'm happy to see that. All right, let me take some of your comments and questions, and thank you, Handquake, for putting out that link to the memberships because it certainly helps. Don't worry about it, the super chat, Kisara. It's not necessary. It's not mandatory, but of course appreciated. But if you can't do it because it's not available in your region, then that's no problem. Just continue to watch. Give me that watch time. Give me that likes up, people. Let's get memberships going here, and let's get a lot of the other stuff. Good morning, Robert. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. A lot of people would like to see a 15 or 16-inch MacBook Air. We're not going to see that. We're going to see a MacBook Pro, which, of course, will be more expensive. But definitely you can guarantee you're going to see that. All right, so let's see. What do we have here? We have 72 of you watching, and that's been pretty good. Okay. Let's see what else here. So what do you think? I think I'm getting positive vibes from the chat here, seeing that they want to see these laptops. All right, so let's see what else we have here. You know, Upgrades, according to Paul, upgrades and redesigns on the MacBook would be really welcome. I agree. It may persuade me to move if they introduce touchscreens. You know, I don't know. My stance on that was, well, I don't think we're going to see touchscreens simply because they're not going to cannibalize their sale of the iPad, right? But as they move more and more to the OS changes, closely matching a lot of the visuals and a lot of the things we're seeing from the iPad OS moving over to the Mac OS, that maybe I'll change my mind on that. Maybe at some point we might see a touch display on a MacBook, which I've been, advocating for years. I would love to see that. Windows have been doing it for a long time now, and I find it's a nice convenience factor. I know not everybody wants a touch display. I understand that, but I like the fact that they give you options on the Windows side. We don't get that on the Mac side, so pretty interesting stuff. So we'll see what they're going to do. Ahmad Katan is asking me, good morning, Andrew. What's your thoughts on the X1 Nano in comparison to the X1 Carbon Gen 8? That's a very good question. This is the X1 Nano that you see here, and let me open it up here. And here you can see how fast this is going to work. Let it boot up, of course. What are my thoughts on the X1 Nano versus the X1 Carbon Gen 8, which I reviewed mid last year, of course. I love this. I love this Nano. I absolutely love it. And the reason I love it is just, first of all, how light it is, but it didn't compromise as much as I thought on a couple of key points. The display is really nice. The battery life far exceeded my expectations, especially with the 48 watt-hour battery. And then, of course, the performance, even with that lower-powered Tiger Lake, I've actually been pretty impressed with that. So I think my feelings are this is pretty portable. I don't know if it will replace the X1 Carbon, because those people might want a 14-inch screen as opposed to a 13-inch screen that you have here. And as you can see, it's a non-glossy display, which I really like. It's a bright display. So I don't necessarily think one will replace the other. I think they complement each other. So it just depends on, do you need a 14-inch display? Now, we're going to be getting new redesigns very soon to be released, of course, already announced, on the X1 Carbon line with that 16:10 aspect ratio, similar to what we have here. So before we rule on that, before we give judgment on that, let's see what they have to say. Okay, I see we have a few interesting people already. We're probably going to have to boot. Now, let's get a few ground rules in order here. Profanity, you're going to get booted. Any kind of spamming the chat, you're going to get a timeout, meaning if you keep repeating your questions, you're going to get a timeout, or you're going to get it booted, depending on my mood or even the moderator's mood. So please, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it professional, okay? A lot of people are telling me they're liking this as far as the design. I love the ThinkPad. And the other thing that you're going to want to know is you're going to want to know about the keyboard. Now, 95% scaled keyboard, not a full size when you compare it to, say, something like the X1. I think this keyboard is perfectly fine. I have big hands, as you've seen in my videos. Typing on it has not been a problem. 1.35 millimeters of key travel, not an issue. It's still better than most ultra portables in this category. One of my favorite keyboards. I love it. I love the ThinkPad keyboards. Great touchpad with that precision touchpad, physical mouse buttons. Really looking good. Now, they do make a touch display model, which will also have a carbon fiber weave in terms of the deck here, of the exterior, and this looks great with the black. It is attracting fingerprints, but not quite as bad as other ThinkPads in the past, so I think they've been using a good coating on this, so we'll think. Is the M1 better than Lenovo? What's that? You mean Lenovo? Is the M1, well, the M1 is a chip, okay? So the M1 is a chip in 2 MacBooks so far, and of course, rumored to be coming. Lenovo is a brand, so please, when you make a comment, Star Writer, please be more specific and more articulate on that, okay? All right. This looks gorgeous. I agree, but I can't wait to see what the MacBooks are going to have to offer. All right. Just going through some of the comments here, and we'll see what we're going to talk about in a moment, but I just want to make sure I get some of the main comments here. Let's see. Nadine is asking, will the new MacBooks work with older platforms, for i.e., can I airdrop from a new MacBook or my new laptop to my Mac 2020? Yeah, I think airdrop is a software feature that's built in. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Of course, you can do that, Nadine. So that should assuage any worries you might have on that. Andrew, I've been addicted lately to watching Computer Chronicles on YouTube. I love that. That's a real throwback, way back when. It was on PBS from 1983 to 02, yes. And I think he might have passed away recently. I don't want to say that if it's not correct. But I don't know did the host just recently pass away. But anyway, loved Computer Chronicles growing up, and I still look at the YouTube channels on that. So there was an episode about notebooks from 1991 showing Apples that cost from, I'll get that back up here again, from Jeff Meyer, from $22.99 up to $45.99. Yes, and we're talking 30 years ago, whatever it was. Very expensive, and if you obviously factor in inflation, it would actually be a lot more money modern times. So very, very interesting. Yeah, Computer Chronicles was a great show. I encourage anybody who wants to look at some retro tech, check it out. You can find the videos on YouTube. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Kisara's asking me, do I prefer the HP Spectre X360 15 or the 14T for 2021? That's a good question. I like them both, and I think they're both a different device in a sense, a different segment. Again, those are going to looking for a more beefier laptop in terms of a bigger screen first, and then of course also a dedicated GPU. You're going to want to go with a 15 because it gives you more horsepower. Again, a discrete GPU, and then it gets the bigger display. The 14 is more portable, and I like the 3:2 aspect ratio on the 14, which if you watched my video, you know that. So I don't want to say one is better than the other. I think they're just like two different segments. Again, one is more portability, smaller display. The other one has a 15-inch display with a discrete GPU, a little better processor, of course. You can get that one with a 6-core processor. We should see refresh of that sometime this year, coming very soon, hopefully. So stay tuned. So that's my thoughts on that. Big fan. Good to see you, my friend, Eva Lightning. All right, so if you were going on a vacation to a rural area and had to pick between a MacBook Pro M1 and a ThinkPad Nano Carbon, which one would you take with you? That's a very good question. Just out of sheer portability, I would go with this simply because this is lighter. I threw this in my laptop bag, and I kid you not, I actually forgot this was in my bag, and we're looking at 1.99 pounds, about a pound less. I guess, what is it, 2.8 on the Air? And the Pro is a little bit more, maybe closer to 3. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but a full pound less, and you will feel it. After a while, when you're carrying it around, you will feel it. So that's a pretty interesting thing. So if I wanted more power, though, the M1 chip probably would give me better numbers, and they do well on these synthetic benchmarks like Geekbench and so forth. But this really surprised me on how well it did in terms of the numbers. You saw the numbers on the display, on the benchmarks, on the processor, the integrated graphics. Again, the Xe graphics really are a nice improvement, even when paired with the Core i5, the lower powered Core i5. So if I was on a deserted island, again, this brings everything I need with me. And the other thing that this potentially has, and I don't have this on this model, but optional 5G. And that makes a big difference, especially when you're on the go, especially when you are away from your office, away from home. Traveling, business executives will like this. I think this is a really, really great choice. 13-inch screen, 1.99 pounds, 907 grams. By the way, military standard grade testing, over 200 tests on this. I mean, it really is a very durable laptop. You got to love it. And the keyboard itself is fantastic. So I'm going to lean towards that simply because, and I like the thinner bezels that it has, although you'll notice a little chin on the bottom here, but nice design, 16:10, just like the Mac. I find very few flaws with this. You could also upgrade this, something you cannot do on the Mac. Now, you cannot upgrade the RAM, but you can upgrade the SSD. So you don't need to buy the most expensive SSD with this from Lenovo. You can get third-party alternatives that will save you some money. Something you can't do with the Mac, okay? On the M1, not RAM upgradable as well, but of course not SSD upgradable. Yeah, please don't spam the chat, people. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a little survey here. 88 people here already. That's good. I see we got 40 likes. People, hit that like button. Let's get this thing sent out over YouTube. Okay. Jeff Mayer, again, another great point here and another great question. Do you think 16 to 10 will supplant 16 to 9 on most future laptops? At least on the business models, yes. I think we're seeing that already. The transition is already happening. Gaming laptops, not so much. I think gaming laptops still with the 16 to 9, especially for gaming, are optimized for 16 to 9. So I think. But again, that might change. But really, for consumers, for general purpose laptops, for business focused laptops, the move to 16 to 10 or even 3 to 2 is already underway. The announcements we already saw from the major brands are having 16 to 10. For instance, the X1 Carbon, which is the bigger brother of this, will have a 16 to 10 aspect ratio coming up. So pretty interesting. So I don't know if that's Arabic or Persian or something, but can you recommend some laptops for studying coding less than $700? Check out the HP Envy X360 on sale if you can get it. Look at the Lenovo Yoga 5 with the IdeaPad 5 that I looked at with the Ryzen 7 processor, or Ryzen 5 even. That might be another affordable alternative. Even look at the one I did with the Yoga 6 that nobody watched. That might be a good affordable option. Do you think 16 to 10, I already answered that. 16 gigabytes makes no sense. In 2 years, it won't be enough. Now, one thing to note on the Mac side, they use that unified RAM, and they're claiming they don't need as much RAM. They don't need as much to run as you would a traditional chipset that we saw with the x86, but these M1 chips are not necessarily dependent so much on the RAM like you needed on the x86, but these are, again, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. These chips are going to get better. We're going to get the more upgraded models of all this stuff, so we'll have to see. Yeah, let's hope the Gen 4 of the X1 Extreme will have a 16 to 10. I would be, I don't know. I don't have any information on that. I would like to see 16 to 10 on that, but we'll have to see. Kisara's asking, Andrew, does the HP Spectre X360 15 with the 11th gen come with a discrete GPU? No, right? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just the XE graphics for now. I thought there might be an MX 450 variant, but I'm not sure. From what I've seen so far, it's only, and I looked at it, I have it here, the XE graphics. Now, of course, if you go with the 10th gen 6-core processor, the Core i7-10750H, that has an NVIDIA GPU, the 1650 Ti with Max-Q. So that one is pretty good in terms of power. But I don't know of the Tiger Lake variants that we've already seen. I think you only get the XE graphics so far, but I could be wrong. Daza is saying, will USA unban Huawei now that Trump is gone? I doubt it. That's on a high-level ban from the military. So I wouldn't hold your breath on that. So I wouldn't hold your breath. Robert is saying, the ThinkPad X1 is a great-looking business travel laptop. I do the MacBook Pro M1. It's heavy. I do like the MacBook Pro M1, according to Robert. It's heavy. My use is mostly at home. I will pick one up and try it. Thanks for all the intel. Yeah, no problem, Robert. The X1 is a great looking business travel laptop. And definitely lighter than the MacBook Pro. That there's not even a question. This is much, much lighter. Again, the non-touch model, 1.99 pounds. The one with the touch is, I believe, 1,000 grams or 2.2 pounds. So a little bit heavier, but negligible in terms of the weight difference. I did Tutu. I used it 10 days straight as my daily laptop. Of course, I did have to test some other stuff in between, but as my main laptop, this was what I used and nothing else. So Dario is asking, what is the real advantage that you see in the Nano compared to the Air M1, and also in perspective with the appearance in the market of the Asus 5980HS that they say will have great performance? Well, let's start off with the Air M1 versus this. Now, the big difference, well, first of all, this is about a pound lighter or so, maybe a little bit less. So that's weight difference is definitely noticeable on this. You do get smaller bezels on this, at least side bezels for sure. You get upgradability as far as the SSD on this. That's a big difference over the M1 MacBook Air. You also get pretty much as good a keyboard, if not better, in my opinion, than the M1 MacBook Air, although it has a much improved keyboard over its predecessor. 5G connectivity is something you can't get with the MacBook right now, of course, but this is an option on this one, so that might be a good choice for those. What does the M1 have? M1 has a fantastic chip over this that will actually give you better performance, although in real-world usage, this did really well, so I don't know if that will negate some of the other things that this offers. And this runs Windows. I know some people want to run Windows, and right now on the MacBook Air, officially you cannot run Windows, although they are working on it with beta, Parallels, VMware, they're all working on it. So those are the differences. An upgradability, again, light in terms of weight, definitely in favor of the X1 Nano. Now, the MacBook Air is a little bit cheaper as far as the entry-level model. This is going to start at about $1,480.75 and go up from there. So price will be in a favor, so to speak, with the MacBook if you're looking at the entry-level one. Olaf Palm is saying, hi, Andrew, great channel. Your review a year ago inspired me to get the Yoga C940 15. That was a very great, still relevant laptop even now. Very good. Robert likes that idea of the 5G connectivity. Yeah, I like it too. And I think we're going to start seeing more stuff. I know that's a big feature option to have with these Lenovo ThinkPads when they made the press announcements and so forth. Have you heard anything about Samsung's intention to produce 90 hertz OLED panels for laptops? I have not, but I'm hoping to review them if they do go that route. And I'm going to do all the new laptops as soon as they're available here in the US. What about G5 battery drain? You mean 5G, right? I'm assuming you're talking about 5G battery drain. Well, I don't have the 5G modem here. Again, it's an option. You don't have to get it. And if you're not going to be using it, just turn it off if you think you're going to have a problem with battery. Speaking of battery, I got 13 hours basically, or 12 hours and 58 minutes on my continuous web surfing test. You're looking at all-day battery life. So that is not an issue on this laptop. So battery life is very good. The Air M1, by the way, has good battery life as well. So that's another thing. Again, people, don't spam, please. Thank you. I'll try to get to all your questions. What's the difference between the HP Envy X360 and the Ryzen 5, and what's better? The HP Envy X360 i5 is an Intel 11th gen based, is what they're up to right now. That's going to have I'm assuming the Xe graphics versus the R5, which is the Ryzen 5, which has integrated Radeon graphics, which both do very well. Now, I would have said that the Ryzen 5 would be better mid last year to the end of last year, but when the Xe graphics came out, we're seeing the numbers on the Xe graphics. They actually happen to be very good, maybe even better, depending on the cooling solution and so forth. So they're both good solutions. I love AMD, what they're doing. I'm looking forward to testing out the 5000 series mobile processors that they just announced, which we should start to see some laptops with those very soon. So I want everybody to stay tuned. I will be getting them. Henhan just wanted to say good luck and good work. Thank you. Being a content creator in the middle of your full-time job, it motivates me to do the same. I salute you, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's kind words. Yeah, it's not easy balancing a full-time job, channel, which is pretty much full-time work, and then, of course, a family and personal life and so forth. So very, very big, tough balancing act, but it's worth it. I love it. I wouldn't change anything. So we'll see. All right. So Wilvin Marte is asking, hi, Andrew, and I'm a computer science student. Do you think I should get the 16 gigabyte version of the MacBook Air M1 or stick with the base model 8 gigabyte? Following you from Dominican Republic. Hola, from the Dominican Republic. Benvenidos. Yes, Wilvin, I think you should get the 16 if you can get it. I know they're on back order. And the reason I say it gives you a little bit more future proof. I understand they're using the unified RAM on these M1 Macs, but I think always having more RAM doesn't hurt if you can afford it and it's available. There's nothing wrong with the 8 gigabyte. That's the one I took a look at late last year. But if you can get 16, I would always go for the more RAM. That's my motto. That's been the theme I've been saying over the years. And I think, obviously, Paul agrees with me on that sentiment. E-Series is very good. I do recommend them. There's very good offerings from there. I don't have any E-Series with me here right now, but maybe I'll be getting some soon. We'll see. Can the XE graphics edit smoothly? You can edit. 1080p worked okay. 4K video, I like having a dedicated or discrete GPU. But you can do it. It just won't be that great. So there you go. Robert is asking, have you heard of any issues with the new MacBook Pro M1? I have not experienced any problems thus far. Seems very worry-free. And that's been one of the, I haven't heard anything as far as major issues. That's been one of the great things about this transition to M1. It's been pretty smooth for the most part. Not perfect. I don't hear too many spinning wheels that we always get, the beach balls and so forth, that we get on the Intel ones. But I haven't heard of any major issues. The only thing people have been complaining about, the inability to run Windows as we stand right now. Again, that's in beta. That will be coming. So that will be remedied. The other thing, other than that, I've heard good battery life, good efficiency, runs cool. There's really nothing to complain about. It's only going to get better. William is saying, it would be nice, but I do not think they will have Apple as part of their new PCs coming out with their refresh. Make it possible for users to be able to open up their PCs to do their user upgrades. William, my feelings on this. You cannot upgrade. They don't want you going into these MacBooks for the most part. They don't want you tinkering with anything. They don't want you upgrading the memory. You cannot. It's all soldered in. As far as the SSD, they're not letting you do that either. That's going to be soldered in as well. So one of the benefits of something like the Nano or the Carbon or any of these other Windows laptops is they, for the most part, give you the ability to swap out the storage. And that's important to me because down the road, you may outgrow the need and need some more. So if you've got the 256 like I have here, I could swap that out and put in a gigabyte, right? A terabyte, rather. So there you go. I mean, that's a big difference. And don't underestimate that, the ability to upgrade. It's important to a lot of people, more than you might think. All right, so 106 watching so far. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's Andrew here once again, and we're doing our live stream. We talked about the rumors. What do we think of the new rumored MacBook Air M1 or whatever variant after that, a higher, quote unquote, higher end MacBook Air. Paul Rouse is saying the Lenovo has great machines and would much prefer over my M1 Mac, but the services support is horrendous. Well, that's a whole nother issue, and I'll get to the super chat from Robert, which is just unbelievable. Service and support. I haven't had any bad dealings with Lenovo. Maybe people have had bad experiences. Let us know. Apple hasn't been perfect either. So let's be clear. I've had some issues with them over the years. Nothing major, but let's be clear. Again, I don't have any information like that. But so we got a really nice super chat from Robert. Thanks, Rob, man. That's appreciated. And another so generous $50 super chat. Unbelievable.
Coming up.
And that's for you, my friend. Really, really appreciate that. Wow, I'm just speechless. That's like 4 times in the last 4 like live streams in a row of such generosity. People live streams, you know, this all takes money. It all takes time, resources to do this channel. And people like Robert, not necessary, again, but much appreciated. It helps me run this channel. It helps me continue to get devices such. I bought this, by the way, people. I don't know if those who are joining us late or didn't see the reviews. I bought this. I paid with my own money with tax, I think over $1,400. You know, it starts, I think, $1,270. And then here with Las Vegas with tax, I had to pay that out of pocket. Again, I have a limited budget here on the channel. It helps me get devices like this. Lenovo did not send me this. Let's be clear. They did not send me this. Gabriel, thank you. You like my channel? Always watching my videos. All right. Hit the wrong button. I appreciate that, Gabriel. All right, let me get some coffee here. Nothing's free, not even advice. Unfortunately, we live in a world that is nothing's free. But what is free is just us getting together and just enjoying the stuff, the talking about the tech. And that's all we can ask for. And it doesn't cost anything. I mean, of course, I have to keep the lights on. I have to pay for this internet to actually live stream to you. I have to have the products to talk about, because I don't think you're tuning into me. You're tuning into the product. I understand that. But you know, it does cost money to keep the lights on. That's for sure. All right, I got a super chat, another one from Paul. Thank you, Paul Rouse. It looks like it's 14. What is that? Pounds. And keep up the great content. Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate it, man.
Coming up.
You got it, my friend. Thank you so much. Yeah, one word only. Lenovo or a laptop for Lenovo or Apple for a laptop. You can't answer. That's apples and oranges, no pun intended. I'm platform, and again, those have been following me. I'm platform agnostic. That means I use it all. In fact, as you can see here, as I move my Lenovo mug, as you can see here, I'm using a MacBook Pro 16, late 2019, Core i9, 32 gigabytes of RAM, terabyte of storage to do this actual live stream. So that's testament that you can use anything. It just depends what the task at hand needs, what's the best tool. Nadine is saying people are also tuning into you. You could be watching anyone. Well, that's what anybody. We could be watching anyone. Thank you. I appreciate that, Nadine. It really means a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, viewers like you, supporters like you that watch, consume the content, and that leads to channel growth. Again, engagement, channel growth all helps the algorithm, and then obviously we can go to that next level. Right now I'm at about 107,000 subscribers. I'd like to get to 200 by the end of the year. That would be a nice goal, but you know, we'll see how it all goes. We're finally coming out of the January swoon. I think we're starting to see good numbers here. We'll have to see how that's all going to play out. Even the live stream here is a way for me to interact, engage with the community, and that to me is really a good thing. So let's see what else we have. Is Ryzen 4600 future-proof? No, there's no chip that's future-proof, Raghav. At some point, they will become obsolete, although you should get a few good years out of it. I don't see any reason why not. It's a fantastic processor under the 4000 series, especially the H series with the Ryzens. So that's been pretty good. That's been pretty good. So you should have a good few years with it, but nothing is future-proof, especially in this fast-moving computer industry. How was the keyboard on the Nano versus the other ThinkPads and the XPS? Oh, that's a good question, Paul. Let me bring up the XPS. Give me a second. Okay, now we got that sorted out because I had the 10th gen. This is the 11th gen. Which keyboard is better? That's a good question. I like them both. I think I'm going to go with the ThinkPads. I'm a big ThinkPad fan as far as the keyboards. Even at a 90% scale, it's still better than a lot of the Windows. Although I got to say, they did a fantastic job on this one. Again, I love these laptops, both of them. Again, I'm going to do a head-to-head on these, so I don't want to go too much into this because I do have a video planned on this. This is the Dell XPS 13 9310, and this is the X1 Nano from ThinkPad, from Lenovo, and they're both excellent laptops. Let me move this over so you can get a side view. So what do I think is a better one? Well, keyboard-wise, I'm going to go with this one. I like this one, although I love this keyboard as well. It's a tough one. It's not going to be a deal breaker on either one, so it's not going to be the deciding factor. IPS display. This is a touch display, glossy, but not too bad in terms of reflection. This is a non-touch, although they do make a touch display, so there you go. Hopefully that will clarify it. Kasara, Paul's telling Kasara the best unit that can do it all so far would be the Samsung Galaxy Book Flex and Flex 2. I plan on getting those in. They're not available here in the US. At least I looked at it this past week, looking to try to get one. Samsung is not. That's another thing. Samsung is not sending me these devices either. So they invited me to those events, but they never sent me any devices. So I think it's a separate PR company. Kasara Tech Studio is asking Andrew, if you weren't using Final Cut Pro, what laptop would you be using currently? Dell XPS 17. That's just I love that laptop. For editing, because I like the display size. I love the quality of that beautiful UHD Plus display. And I would probably use Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. But I tried, and I'm just much more comfortable with Final Cut Pro. So I'm tied to the Apple, although I love it. I have no problem. Again, I'm platform agnostic. Robert is asking, what's my thoughts on the touchpad as well? It looks a little on the smaller side, not a deal breaker, but just curious. So yeah, it's not the biggest touchpad, but I have no issues with it. This one's a little bit wider on the Dell. Not a big deal. I like having the physical mouse buttons, although I use the touch on it to tap and to tap to hold and so forth. This one also has a pretty nice precision glass touchpad. Both are very good. No issues in terms of size. I have not, me personally, experienced any, Robert. Steve is telling Mike, no x86 chip can compare with the M1. Right, the M1 is looking great. It's a 5 nanometer chip, and it's going to do better in a lot of these synthetic benchmarks. In real world usage, you may not notice the difference as much, although people are editing video on their M1 MacBook Airs. They're doing it on the Mac Minis with the M1 or the M1 Pro with the fans inside that as well, with the active cooling. So yeah, I mean, it's impressive. What Apple has done has been very, very impressive. And again, I'm looking forward to the redesign. I'm looking forward to the thinner bezels. That, to me, if you give me a good design on that, you got me sold. I appreciate that, Raghav. I don't. I try using mice. I have the Logitech MX Master, the original. I believe this is the original. and I use it occasionally. But I'm more of a touchpad. I like especially the touchpad on the MacBook. All right, what is the amount? And this is Laptop Retrospective. Good to see you, everybody who hasn't checked out his channel. Do so. Is fantastic. With the amount of people that edit video on a Mac, anything they make needs to be able to do it. Absolutely. A lot of people do edit on a Mac, myself included. Laptop Retrospective. It's just a matter of personal preference. I'm not tied to one platform. I'm tied to that specific editing software. It just does the job for me in terms of what I need to get the job done. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we got 100 of you watching right now. Revet is saying, hey, Andrew, love the great work in your channel. I bought the X1 tablet Gen 3. Stay tuned. There's a new one coming that was announced, we talked about. After your video about it, thanks for the recommendation. Can I ask you what you for a living other than YouTube channel? I've said it before, I'm in the legal field. I don't want to say too much more than that, but just let's leave it at that. Right. Let's be handquake. Let's just everybody take it easy on this M1. It's a great chip. They have a good run with it. But then let's not anoint it the best ever. Okay. Let's be clear. There are other factors that go into a laptop: upgradability, battery life, thermals, which they do very well on, by the way, except for the upgradability part. It's just a matter of what you need to get the job done. Yeah, and of course, having a dedicated GPU, a discrete GPU, it's not comparable. You still need a dedicated or discrete GPU for the really high-end stuff. I don't care what anybody says. I know you can do 4K video editing, you can do all that, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you can replace having a discrete GPU. Wei Lai Yang, how is the display on the X1 Nano? I love it. Bright, 405 nits, although they claim 450, that's the maximum. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Coverage of the color gamut, 93%, very good. All the other metrics are on my video. Check it out. I dropped it today. I'd love to try Raspberry Pi. I've been meaning to, but I haven't got around to it. Yeah, a supercomputer definitely does it better than all. What's the most reliable, Paul, it's a tough question. What's the most reliable laptop brand? It depends. I know Dell was very good for a while, but now they have a little bit of a few issues with quality control last year. I think they've gotten that solved for the most part. Again, there may be people that still have some issues. I don't know. I haven't heard any, but they may still be out there. Lenovo's good. HP. I personally can only tell you my experiences as far as the brands are concerned. Who's the most reliable? I have no issues with any of them. They've all been reliable. They've all remedied any issues that I might have had. So it's just a matter of the laptop itself. You always, no matter what production run, you're going to have a few bad apples, no pun intended, even including Apple. So you just have to see which one. It's just a matter of, are you going to get one of the few percentages that may not live up to speed or may have some issues? Andrew, will the 2016 X1 Yoga still be better for college work? I mean, that's a little bit, you're already talking about a 5-year, what are we, a 5-year? Yeah, 2016. So that's going to be a little bit dated, but it still can work. It just depends on what your work needs are. But I mean, you got to start thinking about upgrading to the more modern processors. When is the best time to purchase a laptop? Well, I always say when you need it. So if you have something a need for, don't worry about it. There's always going to be something better. There's always going to be something that goes on sale. You just can't control that. And the rapid technology advancements are happening. The upgrades are happening. So if you need it now, get it now. That's my philosophy. There's no right time. There's no wrong time is what I'm trying to say. Now, if you want to save some money, of course, they're going to have Black Friday sales. You always can check the websites. Dell, Lenovo, or always HP are always having sales. So always keep your eyes on the latest pricing. I always put the links in the video description. Just keep checking those. You'll get the latest pricing. I did, Jordy, check out my channel. I did the about a month ago or so. I did the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1. I love it. It's a great laptop. So check it out. It's on my channel. Right. Laptop Retrospective agrees with me. If you wait, what comes next might not be automatically better. That is a very good point, by the way. And I noticed, remember the Samsung Chromebook that they released last year with that gorgeous 4K display, that gorgeous fire red color, absolutely gorgeous, but had terrible battery life, and that's one of the reasons I didn't review it. And now they came out with a new one, and it looks so watered down compared to that. I know they're trying to do better battery life and cut the price, but they really cut that down in terms of specs. So whatever comes next doesn't necessarily mean is better, and that's a good point from Laptop Retrospective. And William agrees, if you wait for the latest and greatest product, you will never have anything. And that's well said, William. Well said. And Paul agrees. All right. So we're at 56 minutes. We're closing in on our hour here. I don't know how much longer we're going to go today. We're at 107 people watching. And pretty nice turnout. So anybody have any other questions here while we're here? Well, yeah, I thought William just nailed that. That's a really well put. Not surprised, of course. All right, man. Raghav, have a good night, and I'll see you next time in one of my videos or the live stream, man. Thank you. MacBook contains graphics card. It's integrated into the chip. So, yes, they do. They have graphics, integrated graphics. On the M1s, I'm assuming you're talking about. I don't prefer an operating system. I do like Windows a lot. That's just my personal preference. But as far as what's a better operating system, Mac OS or Windows, I use them both. I'm again, platform agnostic. Here's another, if I must choose question. Those are loaded. Jordy, okay. If you must choose between the X1 and the Dell XPS 13 9310, which one would you prefer? Oh, that's a tough one. I don't want to give away the answer because I have a video coming up on that this week. So you're going to see these two going head to head. So stay tuned. That's what I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it. Nano is thinner. Laptop Retrospective is going to chime in. Nano is thinner than the X1 Carbon, less ports. But depending on how you configure each machine, the Nano can be cheaper. If you need ports, the X1 Carbon, but the Nano has a nicer base features. So the difference between the car, and again, we had that question earlier, and thanks Laptop Retrospective for your input. That is a good question. If somebody's gonna look to choose between the X1 Nano and the Carbon, I think that it all comes down to your needs. You need a 14-inch display as opposed to a 13. Do you mind the little extra weight, which is not much, to get that extra real estate and so forth? Maybe a bigger battery, a little bit bigger battery. Because I'm curious to see what the 16th, and you need the ports. The ports, of course, are going to be better on the X1 Carbon than the Nano. Nano only has the two Thunderbolt 4/USB 4 ports. So it just depends on what you need as far as connectivity. I think that both are going to offer 5G connectivity as optional connectivity, so we'll see. But yes, again, it depends. It's going to depend on what your use case scenario is. Yokubus is asking, is there a point of buying a MacBook Pro 16 base model when M1s are so good and twice as cheap? I would wait at this point, and I know I just said always buy what you need, but in the specific case for the MacBook Pro 16, which is what I'm live streaming on right now, I would wait to see what the new M1 version of this will be. I don't think we're that far away from it. And so if you can hold off for that, I would. only just to see what Max. It doesn't necessarily mean whatever's coming is going to necessarily be better. I would anticipate getting better thermals and better performance out of the M1 or whatever variant they're going to put in that, based on what we've seen so far with what they did on the 13-inch Air and the Pro. So we'll see. All right. Got about 100 of you watching. All right. Andrew, what is the best laptops from the MacBook Pro 13 M1 chip versus the MacBook Air? Which is better? It depends on what your budget is and what your needs are. Do you do anything more than 10 minutes in terms of processor-intensive tasks? If that is the case, then I would recommend the M1 Pro, the MacBook Pro with the M1, simply because it has active cooling, something that the Air does not have, the M1 Air. So it just depends. And again, it depends if you like having no fans or intense battery. Again, if you're doing anything, my rule of thumb is if you're doing anything more than 10 minutes, then I would not consider the Air. In terms of intensive, if it's just general, everyday use stuff, you'll be fine with the Air. Great battery life, great thermals, it stays cool. But if you need to do something processor intensive, video editing or stuff like that, gaming, I would definitely go with the Pro for the simple fact that it has active cooling. Robert finds himself using Adobe products for personal use and Windows-based product laptops for work. Just seems to work for me. Yeah, well, again, that just goes to the point. What works for you may not be what other people. So again, it's just a matter of personal preference. All right. Please, people, stop spamming the chat. Leon likes my reviews. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is Lenovo a gaming laptop? You're talking about the Legion. I reviewed them. They're very good. Check it out on my channel. I've done a couple of them. I did the Legion 5. Check it out. And I have more coming, so stay tuned. All right, so we're at 1 hour and 2 minutes. Again, those of us joining late today, rumor MacBook Air Pros 2, MacBook Air rumors to have MagSafe keyboard, a slimmer design, lighter design, thinner bezels. Very interesting stuff. Much needed in terms of the style and design as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what happens on that. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, check it out. We're at 107,000 subscribers right now. I want to get to 200 by the end of the year. I'm re-energizing the channel. I'm going to do some new stuff coming up. I have a desktop that you're going to be seeing. I'm going to do some head-to-heads. We're going to have some really good fun coming up. So you want to make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. You got it, Nadine. How much RAM is good for the MacBook? I would say it depends. I would go for the most you can get. That would be 16 in terms of the M1 Pro or the M1 Air. And I know they have the unified RAM. I understand that. It's a little bit more efficient on how it works in terms of the RAM. But always get more. More is better when it comes to RAM. Nothing wrong with the 8. If it's financially not feasible to get the 16, then go for the 8. It's fine. I used it. It was good. And I appreciate that laptop retrospective. You set the bell so you don't miss a start again like today. Don't worry about it. I keep it up for replay. So if those who are going to miss it, they're going to get a chance to check it out. And those who, you want to make sure you get the bell checked off. So that helps me. So I know who's watching. I know how I can gauge the interest of things, so it'll definitely help me going forward. Plus, any interaction, of course, subscribing, liking the video, really helps the algorithm, commenting. It really helps get this sent out, because when the algorithm from YouTube sees interaction, it then will promote it, recommend it to other people. That's how you do it. It's not a big secret. That's how you do it. Thank you, Nadine. Right now we have 69 likes, so let's get it over 100. I'd like to see over 100 at least for the live stream while we're live. Thomas is bringing up a good point. Any idea of why companies are now soldering their RAM now? It seems like every manufacturer is doing this. Yeah, it's a disturbing trend in a way. The laptops are getting thinner and lighter, and they're looking for every little area that they can save space and weight. And that's one area, supposedly, that they can shave some millimeters or maybe even less than millimeters or whatever that is, just to get these incredibly thin and light laptops. I mean, you can see it here. These are very thin and light laptops. And you see there's very little room to do any upgrades now. So they're soldering things in just to keep weight down, to keep size down. And that's pretty much why I think we're seeing that. It's not so, I don't think it's so much a money-saving measure. I think it's more a weight-saving and space-saving measure. I'm glad, first time in the chat. YouTube. I actually had, I don't know if anybody was here who remembers when I did the live stream last year, when we were about to approach the 100,000, and actually YouTube themselves said congratulations to me. That was a big deal. I still have that up somewhere. That was a pretty big deal. They actually went on the live stream and said, fantastic, great job. And that was pretty special, actually. I was kind of happy about that. When YouTube actually recognizes the creators, that really means something. And of course, I have my silver play button in the back when I hit that 100,000, as you can see it there. Yeah, Carl, I'm at 107. I'd like to get to 200 by the end of the year. I don't know if it will happen, but we'll try. Yeah, Fareed, you remember that? Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And I think on one of those live streams, I don't remember if it was one of those or when Dell announced some of that stuff, I had about 715 people, concurrent viewers. That means 700 people watching at the same time. That's peak concurrent viewers. That was pretty amazing. Right now we have 104, which is great for a live stream. But when I saw those numbers, Tech Realm doesn't seem to be here today. He also was like going, wow. And then people were just going nuts in the chat when that happened. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, 1 million viewers. Yeah, I already hit, I had 21 million views already, plus we're getting on to 22. But subscribers, yes. Robert, absolutely would love to get there. Whether I will get there, I don't know. I just going to take it one step at a time. We got to 100, now let's get to 200, and then we'll go from there. Where's that gold M1 Air? That's coming. The gold M1 Air will hopefully be redesigned. I already did the M1 Air. Check out my channel. Explain the function of SSD. It's solid state drive, no moving parts, just to simplify things, as opposed to a hard disk drive, which has a spinning hard drive where moving parts. SSDs can potentially, obviously, are faster. The way it reads and writes the memory. It's, just to keep it simplified, it's a much better, more efficient way than, say, a spinning hard drive. Yeah, I know what you meant, Robert. No worries. What is the best keyboard? What is the best keyboard you have tested on a laptop? I love the ThinkPad keyboards. On some of the X1 Carbons in the past have been great. I love them. Some of the X1 Extreme Gen 3 had a great keyboard. Really stand out to me as we speak. But there are others out there. Oh, okay. So, Elizabeth, how are you in Seattle? Hopefully you're doing well. Mallory, I'm sure, is happy to see you. Granny E. And for those that are joining us late, she called in a number of times, twice already, asking for some advice. And I appreciate that. I am going to keep up the good work. Thank you so much. All right. William likes the HP keyboards. Excellent. They've really, one thing about HP, their designs and their keyboards have gotten continually better. I have one right here. Well, this is, I have the 14-inch here. And let's put these over here. And this one has this has a pretty great keyboard as well. This is the 14-inch. Of course, they have 15-inch with numeric keypad, the numpad, 10 keys. This is really good key travel. I'm very happy with this. 3:2 aspect ratio. Those of you who are joining late or not subscribed to my channel, check out my review of this. This is the HP Spectre X360 14 in the, what is this? I forgot what to call it. They call it, I always forget what they call it, this ash gray, but they changed the name. Somebody remind me what it is. But anyway, it's got the Lux accents, the gold Lux accents and so forth. I like it. Nightfall black, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there you go, Paul. There you go. Nightfall black. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. All right. So, and for those wondering, 3:2 aspect ratio, taller display, 16:10 over here, 16:10 over back there. So, those wondering. And then here you can see the top down on the keyboards, touchpads, just to get an idea of what we're dealing with. Okay. All right. You like you love your Spectre X360, Jeff, and your Envy X360. So you have both. Good. Pale copper. These are the copper, Paul. These are the copper Lux accents. The pale gold would be on the Poseidon blue, if I'm not mistaken. So these are copper Lux accents, pale blue or pale gold on the Poseidon blue. They come with a Poseidon blue color, which is also very nice. Looks like gunmetal. Yeah, it's called Nightfall Black. How's the pen? Pen is very good. You know, I talk about it a little bit in the video. Worked well. It uses the on this one, it uses the N-Trig pen technology, or the Pen Protocol 2.0, Microsoft Pen Protocol, and that worked fine, worked good. It's rechargeable, USB-C, no need for batteries. There you go. All right. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Otherwise, we'll start wrapping things up. Got more stuff to do today. Yeah, I think it's a great looking laptop. I'm a big fan of the gem cut design. It has, again, the gem cuts over here. If I can get it, there you go. Both sides. Now, they did move the power button off into the keyboard deck, which you can see here. So now you can turn it on. They also moved the fingerprint scanner onto the keyboard as well. A couple of other nice button features they have. The shutter switch is now on there as well. So that's been pretty good. And according to Laptop Retrospective, HP always did right by you. Some of the older ones had display issues, but HP often is a solid choice. Might not be the bleeding edge, but fine for most people with a splash of style without going crazy. Yeah, I think Lenovo, HP has really, last few years, has put a lot of money into R&D, into design, and that's what we're seeing. What happened, Granny? You're saying, Granny E is saying, thanks for the hello. People helping at the senior center, evidently busy, no help, no return call. All right, that's why you're tuning in, Granny E. That's why you're tuning in. Did HP laptop have HDMI? On the 14, no, there's no HDMI. There's Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 of them right there. 3.5 millimeter micro SD card slot, and then on the other side a USB-A port. Nice port selection. Nice port selection. Nice to see USB-A. No HDMI, so you'll have to go through the Thunderbolt 4 for that. I'm trying to see about that, about the Surface Pro 7 Plus. A little bit underwhelming, and I'm not sure if I'll get views with that. What do you people think? Do you want me to do the 7 Plus or wait for the Surface Pro 8 when that comes later this year? Again, I have a limited budget, and they're not sending me anything. All right, Paul, take care, man. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. So I don't know, long story short, I don't know if I'm going to get the Surface Pro 7 Plus. I did the 7, and I think, and by the way, that 7 just hit over 100,000 views, so that's good. It worked out well for me. All right, William, take care, my friend. Looking forward to the next coming up.
Coming up.
Take care, my friend. We're going to probably wrap it up in the next minute or so. If there's one last question, let me take some. You got it, Mattia. And right now we're at an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's a good stopping point right now. So let's wrap things up. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Got a couple of things coming up this week, so make sure, again, you're subscribed. Make sure you got that bell notification checked off. Football's coming on, Jeff, so take care. Unfortunately, my team, the New York Giants, stink, so they're not in. Have a great day, Nadine. Take care, everybody. Ahmed, everybody else, I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye-bye.